Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to a high-level game between in the top left spawning as a red Zerg player playing for the Shopify Rebellion. It is Scarlett. And being annoying with his probe on the other side of the map. In the color blue, it is Creator. Ooh, very exciting. PvZ here on Babylon. A map where I'm never entirely sure what's kicking off. Is this good for TOS? Is this good for Zerg? Is it good for Terran? Yes, it's good for Terran. Is it good for Zerg versus Protoss? I don't know. It feels like some Zergs really like it. Relatively short rush distance. We've seen some queen walks on this map as a result of that. I've also seen just some roach attacks here. So yeah, there's a couple of aggressive maneuvers that the Zerg can pull off. But for the Protoss players, it's also quite nice for things like a glaive rush. It feels like there's some real potential for glaive rushes. And I'm not quite sure what Creator is doing, but he started his warp gate and then he cancelled it. This is one of them Korean tricks that I'm not familiar with. I don't actually know what this is. It's Adept Stalker, but with a warp gate that is delayed for no reason whatsoever. That's a cool move. It does seem to me like he's going into a Stargate, but he's just floating a lot of gas. I actually have no clue what this build order is. I believe in the chess world we call this a completely unique game, because this has never been done for... He's legit floating 250 gas right now. Is he just gonna expand to a third base? Like straight away? Double Stargate maybe? Is that the plan? Yeah, it's gonna be double Stargate, okay. Double Stargate straight away. Adept Stalker. And well, I am kind of in shock. This is something you never see. What is the Nexus timing on the third going to be here is my question. I don't think I'm gonna get an answer for that until we see the Nexus go down. It can be too fast, right? You have a low gateway production. You're just getting a third unit here. It feels relatively scary to walk over and take a third base at this time. If you lose your Adept, you have no real ability to ever take it again. So you probably rather wait for one warp in, maybe even some Phoenixes. You have a Roach War. Now this could be meant aggressively, but it could also be Scarlett just being afraid, right? It's like you see nothing, you saw a fast warp gate. No oracles out on the map. Then again, this warp gate also isn't super fast. Usual warp gate finish timing for the first warp in to happen would be at maybe 3:58. This time it was 4:08, 4:09. Scarlett did see the gateways morph, so she should be aware that the warp gate was 10 seconds late. We have Phoenixes just being saved up, a third gateway on the way, a bunch of links now being produced. Creator is on 44 workers against Scarlett's 38. Scarlett is just fighting a Glaive Adept opener here, which isn't happening, by the way. This is a non-Glaive Adept opener. Scarlett has absolutely no clue what's kicking off. Does not have any vision on the far right. That's an issue. Really needs to get some link spread over there as well, because you want to know when your opponent flies out with a Prism or with Phoenixes or with Oracles. Now, in this case, of course, we know what it's going to be. But Scarlett is fairly unaware. There could have been a Prism here warping in 4, 5, 6 DTs, and she would be none the wiser. Now, 4 Phoenixes are going to make their way across the web. This is a ragtag group of Phoenixes at a weird timing as well. What's our queen count at the moment? We're at 6. The first Overlord's going to get shot. And the question is whether Creator's going to focus on Overlord harassment or trying to take out drones initially. I think you might want to do a deep dive into one of these bases first. There should be... Well, they should be kind of out in the open. There's no spores available. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Probably going to get up to 6, 7, 8 workers here. While getting a third base is Creator. Up in workers right now. Third timing is late. Seems like Scarlett has different plans here. And don't forget, there is no consistent damage output here for the Protoss player. No Void Ray, no Oracles that can help with the links. So it's going to be pure gateway units against this Ling Roach army. And often pure gateway units against Roaches don't fare so well unless there's battery support. Now, there is still 2 or 3 lifts perhaps available. Robotic facility is on the way, but I do believe this is going to be enough units here for Scarlett to take out this third base, and then all of a sudden Creator is going to have a lot of workers, but not a whole lot of mineral patches to mine from. These 3 zealots also will end up falling. Another pylon is going to get taken out. I would love to see +1 attack here being researched. Creator is floating 600 gas as well. I'm not quite sure what his plans are with all of that gas, but this seems like a weird build order, to say the least. Just kind of out there. We should see a fort base, although Scarlett seems to be focusing more on getting gases before the fort. We have a robo bay, a forge, continued Phoenix production. And the one funny thing is that Scarlett, for whatever reason, didn't really build a spore. I guess her reasoning for not building a spore here might have been, hey, my opponent needs to be using a lot of Phoenix lifts defensively. So the moment these Phoenixes come across the map, there's hardly going to be any lifts available. And honestly, that was kind of true. This is a fight Scarlett can take. This is pure free. This is Zealots without charge. This is 12 Zealots without charge. We have a Hydra then on the way now. Still no fort base, do mind. Which is by itself a very surprising fact to me. The fact that we don't have a fort base yet. We are on 71 drones already. Queens are being caught out of position in grandiose ways every single time, it feels like. So the queen defensive movement hasn't been optimal. We now have tunneling claws and burrow. These are 2 upgrades that you usually don't see unless a Zerg feels very desperate. Although I don't think this is a very desperate situation for Scarlett. I could be wrong. Perhaps her eco isn't brilliant here. I really feel like that heavy investment into gas is not the future of Phoenix defense. What we often see is higher queen counts, lots of drones, and a quick fort base. You just continuously build workers until you reach 85, 86. That seems to be a very common response to everything. Now, once again, we're building 10 more workers, going up to 76, despite still not having a fort base. It is just a very odd situation that we're working with here. +1 range finally on the way, as the first Colossus has popped out. Second one is on the way. Templar Archives being followed up as the next tech choice here for Creator. He's now finally saturating his gases on the third base. 8 minutes and 34 seconds into the game. Then again, Scarlett with a 8 minutes and 20 second fort base. Also isn't the quickest one in class. Double sport in the main will prevent all too much damage from being dealt. One Phoenix almost dies, but not quite. And that's the only thing that matters. Phoenix count is still up to 10. Have we lost any Phoenixes? No. Yeah, resources lost is heavily favoring Creator here, but that should be no surprise. The moment a Phoenix pops out, that's usually going to be the case. Hallucination is trying to scout how many of these sentries do we actually have. Could be an important unit here defensively. Let's not forget about that. Scarlett feels comfortable enough to move out across the map. I wonder if that's a mistake. Do we have any detection at all? There's one observer. It's just completely out of position, isn't it? These roaches move in. As this burrow harass is going to deal some serious damage. It's probably going to hit simultaneous in the main base over here as well, where there is a cannon and we have a warp in, so this will be dealt with. At the same time, we have a major fight here at front. Scarlett perhaps engaging a bit too eagerly into this position, expecting some units to be split off. 7-8 workers go down. Phoenixes deal with this, honestly, effectively, I would say. So we have an infestation pit behind this. We should be seeing 8 gases, a 5th base coming down. We have a lot of cash in the bank and 14 more roaches as well. Seems like Scarlett perhaps is regretting getting too many Hydras. I think in these cases you want enough Hydras to make sure that the Phoenixes can't lift all of them. I think you achieve that usually with 12, 13 Hydras. She went up to 18 earlier. Now we have a 5th base. We have a hive. I think a lurker then is something that would be good to have. Personally, I think that would be a good addition here. Maybe a second Evo chamber. Like, we're really heading into that high eco territory here for Scarlett, where she doesn't have a lot to spend her money on. You know, she's maxed already. What are you gonna buy? You're gonna buy real estate, you know, infrastructure, lurker dens, Evo chambers, all of that jazz. For now, though, it's Creator that is kicking off this game into overdrive as he moves out across the map. It's an interesting engagement that we're seeing with a semi-flank of a single queen. The roaches are trying to micro back. 17 more are on the way. Archon count is dwindling. That's important. But the roach count is, well, pretty much nothing. The Hydra count has also been severely diminished. At the same time, though, I didn't even see this massive link run by heading in towards the natural and the main base. This might be the saving grace here for Scarlett, who's now moving back with a lot of these links. No, keeps them on the other side of the map. Kind of like a base tradey scenario here, just remaxing on roaches. There's no real powerhouse damage dealers in this army either. There's no tanking ability anymore. And now the Colossi start falling, and I think Scarlett might have broken this attack. Yes, still an absolute metric crap ton of phoenixes are flying around, capable of picking up individual roaches and individual reinforcement units, but this still feels good, I guess. Still feels good for Scarlett. She's just up so many workers. I'm not entirely sure about this counterattack. It feels like this carries more risk than... And there's no real carrot at the end, you know? Like, where's the reward here? I don't see it. What's the incentive for this move out? It ain't here. Simple as that. Triple Vipers now coming out. More Hydras being produced to finally try and deal with these pesky Phoenixes. I wouldn't completely mind seeing a couple of spores being pushed forward either. Although that doesn't quite seem to be in the plans here of Scarlett. Still has some, like a spore over here as well. 2 in the main. All could really aid in the defense here, as one Viper has been scouted and has been severely damaged. Well, it's been damaged a little bit at least. A Parasitic Bomb is going to be a pretty decent game changer. Abducts also would be useful to have, of course. This base is on the verge of dying, will fall, and now drones trying to transfer over to the 5th base, and we might be heading into one of those situations in which the Zerg has a lot of drones but no bases to saturate, similar to what Creator had earlier in this game. Creator has the opposite issue. He has plenty of bases to saturate, just not a whole lot of workers. That's why he's not really mining gas in the natural completely. He's undersaturated on his fort, doesn't have gas on his fort, undersaturated in the main as well. So a couple of probe rounds would definitely solve this issue. It seems like Creator's pretty set on trying to win the game on 53 workers, and that's also a solution I don't completely dislike. Because you're not fighting against banelings here. So your army is actually going to get better and better and better the higher your supply will be. So if you max out on 130, 140 army supply, that just means your army is insanely strong. And that's definitely what Creator's going for here. No Parasitic Bomb being cast. Okay, there we go. Actually, one was cast. Second one now being cast. Phoenixes are in a little bit of trouble, but so are these Vipers. 1, 2, 3 Phoenixes go down. I think that's actually 4 or 5 total now that have fallen. Yeah, we still have 5 remaining, so 5 must have gone down. This was a terrible fight, though, for Scarlett, who now is finally getting that Lurker then. Is trying to re-expand to 2 bases at the same time, but I'm not so sure she can hold either of them. Immortal count has improved drastically as well, up to 3 right now, which is definitely going to help against such a high roach count. Archon's back for tanking, a bunch of Stalkers in there as well. A solid, well-balanced composition out of Creator, while Scarlett, well, is on Roach, Hydra, Viper. Not entirely what you want. Vipers are probably the only unit that have the ability to bring a game like this back. Ooh, there's a couple of good abducts though. There was one Colossi, now an Immortal. It seems like Creator is taking this very slow. They're saying, hey, I'm gonna take out your side bases while kind of camping outside. And it does feel a little bit scary, honestly. It does feel a little bit scary because these Vipers are just going to continuously abduct. So now maybe an Archon or another Immortal could go down. Fort base once again saturated. Ecos are relatively close. Roaches make their way in towards the natural again, or are going to make their way in towards the natural again. So the Phoenix count is now lower. They might actually be good. 9 Lurkers being produced is a big deal. I wish there were more Vipers on the map still. Vipers such a useful tool to have in these kind of low eco situations. Abducts are so powerful. It's crazy how strong they are. Here come the Roaches, first person view here on Creator. Let's take a look how he deals with this. Oh, he was already there and he popped over. Phoenixes should fly back. No observer obviously here with this army, which is frustrating. Which means that if they burrow again, then Creator could be in a little bit of trouble. But they're not going to burrow and Creator's going to be just fine. Now sees this army moving out. Goes for the base trade. Actually pulls the trigger immediately. Ooh. Usually I'm a fan of base trading against Lurkers, but I'm not so sure if your army consists of this many Stalkers. It's going to be a very interesting one here for sure. as a portion of this army is also being brought back. So it's going to be one base versus one base. So far, it definitely is Scarlett who has lost more workers, but that's mainly because Creator managed to hide them. Oh no, that's what? 14 workers hiding in the corner, making sure they don't get spotted. Creator slowly adding in disruptor after disruptor after disruptor after disruptor. Let's take a look at the full vision again. See what's actually kicking off. Now this bottom side fort base is being constructed. Adaptive Talons on the way. Creator with a good worker count, but now not really the basis to do anything with it. Or a good worker count, a better worker count. Worker counts are of course always relative. You know, 44 workers is a whole lot if your opponent has 5 workers, but it's not that many if your opponent has 85. Now, for this game, Creator's worker count is very nice. Because he's up in workers against the Zerg. That's on a ROACH, Hydra, Lurker. Like that's a fairly nice position to be in as a Protoss player. I'll guarantee you that. Interesting army split as well coming out of Creator here, who's not paying attention. Could have caught some roaches for free. Instead is going to let those roaches run by for free. Possibility of an abduct is still here. Ooh, not anymore. We do get pretty decent feedback there. This could be a huge roach run by the way. If it cancels this fort base, that would be massive. There go the disruptors. One gets taken out. Second one tries to shoot. Splits are terrible here out of Scarlett. No split at all, actually. He's just trying to run back. It's the diamond approach here. But the diamond approach also loses you a lot of roaches. Apparently, oh, jumping in. Oh, I love that. Jumping in for the Viper is a pretty big deal. The Viper, the only thing that really counters the Disruptor army. Creator, however, struggling to get this base to survive and loses it. So not just struggling, failing to get this base to survive. We now have a 5th base up for Scarlett, which is wild because, well, she doesn't really have drones to saturate anything, let alone a 4th. So yeah, I'm just curious what this is all about. Okay, Lurkers are being pushed back here. Tempest now on the way, as well as a mothership. Creator is digging deep into his pockets. Find some cash. And it's like, maybe Tempest? Tempests are a nice unit, but you do, with Tempest, the thing is, you need enough to one-shot majority of the time. Oh, this could be a very sad story here for Scarlett if she unburrows. Or if this observer that's over here sees it. There's multiple ways this could be a sad story. Does it get blocked here? It does get blocked. Uh-oh. Yeah, sees the entire army. There's like, hey, perhaps this isn't the future for these roaches. As at the same time, Oracle tried to take out a couple of workers. 12 workers are on the way here for Scarlett. These roaches get backed into a corner. This could be triggering some type of response as well. Saying, hey, your entire army is here on the right side. What happens if I move towards the middle? Although I do believe that Scarlett might just be a little bit too afraid to go for a move like that. Too afraid to die. She has regained the eco lead right now. 7 more workers are on the way. Look at this Viper count. That is a very beautiful count of Viper. Good Oracle usage as well. I like that a lot. Good luck trying to engage into this. I really think Tempests are going to slowly but surely have to kind of target this down. That takes a while, you know. Need to angle this properly with these abductors. Oh, there we go. That's worth it already here for Scarlett. Straight away gets both. But there's not enough damage output on that left side to take out that Tempest. And yes, it sucks that you get feedback and you need to get back that energy. And you might even kill your natural if you're not careful here. But, ooh, Scarlett wasn't losing a whole lot until that moment. Those 2 disruptors were big. Roaches over here, I'm not quite sure what they did, but it feels like they contributed to the demise of this base over here. Now, once again, Burrow commanding, trying to go in. Scarlett not paying attention. Now she is. We'll move him back. Pop, pop, pop. Immortal gets blasted. Oh, move it back, move it back. And there we go. Yeah, so Tempest count is now, what, 0? Yeah, Tempest count is 0, so pushing into those positions from a distance is just simply not worth it when abducts are available. Because you can't really kill the Viper with it, right? That's why I often say with Tempest, you need a minimum to one-shot Vipers. Like, if you're not one-shotting Vipers, there's really no point. You know, like, what's the deal there then? Like, what are you gonna do? Because you're really just trading energy for Tempest at that point. Like, even if you get the feedbacks every single time, if you just miss it once, you're losing a Tempest and you haven't killed anything. So, Yeah, it's really, really important that you have one-shot ability with the temp. So this is what? Double Archon drop into the main? This would make sense against a pure Ling composition, but this is a Roach Hydra composition. Then the Archons are actually not so great in drops. Like, perhaps even kind of useless in a way. And very expensive to lose, of course. Their Spire might get targeted down, though. Don't actually think it will. These, well, Zealots are still going to try. Attempt to go for it. This Prism is also going to get blasted here by the Vipers. No, it's not. We see a recall. Greater Spire could be morphed here immediately. This is a pretty wild game, by the way. I'm not entirely sure who's winning. It feels like currently Creator has a much superior army. Isn't necessarily represented in the army value graph, but I do believe that if you have 35 Hydras and your opponent has 3 different types of splash or 2 different types of splash, Disruptor, Templar, Archon to a certain extent, but definitely like the Disruptor and the Storm, I think you're going to be struggling massively because Hydras freaking suck. All right, they're glass cannons and they don't even deal that much damage. Oh, here comes an Abduct. Yep, there we go. That takes it down. As Templar trying to move in, one goes down for free. Lurkers moving forward. Well, Disruptor shots actually kind of connect, but so do these Abducts once again. As a single Lurker tried to go for some harass, killed 12 workers and then ended up dying. 6 Corruptors are out on the map now as well. Some added in anti-air. I think this base is absolutely toast, and I wouldn't mind just giving up this base here in the Zerg's position. It's a Purification Nova does get a connection. Up. Yoink yoink, says the Viper. Abducting their little lives away. I think one of the errors when creating the Viper that Blizzard made is that there should have been a kill count on the Viper on units that they've abducted. Like, the fact that this Viper says 0, you know, it doesn't quite accurately represent its value in this game. It's been huge. Like, every Viper, I think, has like 3-4 kills already. Like, it's massive damage that has been dealt through these Vipers. And perhaps a better metric, rather than the amount of kills, should be, you know, the value of the kills as well. Isn't that more interesting? Like, if an Archon kills 25 Lings, like, that's nice. But if a Disruptor kills 7 Lurkers, that feels way better for the state of the game. You know, I'd much rather kill 7 Lurkers than 35 Lings every single day of the week. 5th base here for Creators going to get recalled too. I think Scarlett might be setting up for the final push. Although, maybe this is not the final push. I'm not quite sure what this is. This is the push before Creator's final push, perhaps. Nice movement out of Creator. We're sending 2 Zealots towards the bottom side. It's going to be happy to see that there's no base there. A bit sad as well, of course, for the Zealots. They were sent out to actually go deal some damage, and now they're fighting an Extractor. Not entirely what they were promised in the Ire handbook. Scarlett also moving towards the bottom. Wondering if there's a base there. No. So I think both players now are fairly aware. Ooh, fairly aware of what their opponent has, money-wise, income-wise, army-wise. I think we're just waiting for, honestly, like, one engagement or the continued engagement that Scarlett has been taken with the Abducts, or maybe Disruptor shots can make a difference. I'm loving the Stalker control here, just kind of separating them from the main army, saying, hey, if any Vipers are out of position, I can take them out like this. That would be huge. 2 Stalkers do end up dying there for free. Scarlett has lost something, although I'm not quite sure what. Might have been that bottom side Hydra Lurker army. It's a lot less supply than there was just half a minute ago. Lurker count is at 6. Oh, that's a very, very good feedback. That basically means now that this Viper is going to be useless because there's no Queens for Transfuse either. Storm still connecting. Brootling's trying to chase. Perhaps it's possible. Oh, there we go. Observer, no. No Observer, just the Phoenix being taken out. Has this base been rebuilt? I feel like this was way lower HP earlier, and I don't think it's just Transfuses that redid it, right? No shot. I think that base has been rebuilt at some point. Spawning pool is also being rebuilt. Of course, if you have a lot of minerals in the bank, a lot of cash, and it's nice to do that. Stalkers poking in and out here, knowing there's nothing to catch them, no links. So They're happy with life currently. Do we have that Greater Spire, by the way? Yeah, we do have a Greater Spire, although it doesn't really seem like an appropriate timing to get... Woohoo! Almost killed like 3 of his own Templar with that Disruptor. I'm not sure how much Broodlord would contribute to the fight here, as the Viper does get one-shot now by the feedback. GG gets called, Scarlett gives up, and Creator wins this game. Very back-and-forth game with a weird opener, a weird mid-game, and an odd ending. Nonetheless, a fun one to watch. I hope you all enjoyed it just as much as I did. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Bye-bye.